Okay, so get this. What if the key to unlocking your bank account wasn't a stolen password, but a mathematical formula? Today, we're diving into a wild financial scam that started not with a sketchy email, but with a legit moment of scientific discovery.
It sounds completely nuts, right? How on earth can a math equation lead to your bank account being drained? Well, that's the central mystery here, and we're going to unpack exactly how a flash of scientific genius became the bait for a super complex, multi-layered fraud operation.
So here's how it all went down, what investigators are calling the golden thread. It all kicks off last year with a brand new mathematical discovery. Then, just a little while later, probably while talking about it online on a site like Stack Overflow, the victim's phone gets compromised. Fast forward to last week, the victim is already fighting back, getting in touch with Protocon, Mexico's consumer protection agency. Then, 2 days ago, a formal report gets filed with Google, and just yesterday, the scammers make one last fatal mistake, and the whole money trail is blown wide open.
So, the big question is, how did they pull it off? This first part is all about the setup, what we're calling the quantum deception. This is where the scammers built this incredibly elaborate and convincing fake reality, just piece by piece.
I mean, the sheer audacity here is just mind-blowing. The scammers built this fortress of pseudoscience, literally inventing things like an Ariane 729 model. They took real scientific terms, the golden ratio, Planck's constant, and weaponized them to create a story so complex and intimidating that you'd think, there's no way this could be fake. It's too brilliant.
And you have to understand, this wasn't some quick smash and grab job. The strategy they used is known as pig butchering. It's this deeply psychological, long-haul con. They'll spend weeks, even months, just building trust and a relationship, fattening the pig, as the term goes, before they move in for the financial kill. It's truly sinister. And to build that wall of fake legitimacy, their operation was massive. They were impersonating huge institutions, sending fake alerts from Samsung Wallet, using bad links disguised as a real bank, and even cooking up fabricated documents from the Bank of England and the IRS to make it all seem official. And honestly, pretty scary.
All right, so the final piece of the technical puzzle was getting malware onto the victim's device. And they did it with a classic bait and switch. They offered a solution to a problem that they created, promising some new encryption method. The victim installs this Yellow Shield software, thinking they're beefing up their security, but what they've actually done is just handed the scammers the keys to the entire kingdom. Total control.
But this is where the story takes a fantastic turn. Instead of cracking under the pressure, the victim starts this meticulous counterattack, a strategy they named La Lógica de la Luz, which means the logic of light. And this is just incredible. Instead of panicking, the victim used their own expertise. They documented everything, every single screenshot, every email. They dug into the source code of the fake websites and checked the security certificates to prove they were fraudulent. Then, they took it to the next level, formally contacting the authorities and filing an official report. The prey had just become the hunter.
And all of this hard work, this logic of light, was about to pay off in a huge way. The scammers were starting to feel the heat, and they were just about to make a critical mistake that would unravel their entire operation. It all came down to one last, desperate attempt to get more money. The last person in the scam chain reached out through a Facebook ad, trying to squeeze the victim just one more time.
But here's the thing about desperation. It makes you sloppy. In that final push, they accidentally exposed the one thing they had worked so hard to keep hidden, the actual money trail.
And there it was, the smoking gun. The victim now had a direct, traceable line connecting the scammer, a man named David Ballesteros Castillo, to the guy actually receiving the money, Leopoldo Ernesto Gonzalez Reyes, and finally to the real-world bank they were using, Santander Bank. The whole network was laid bare.
So this whole case really paints a fascinating picture, a real contrast between two different digital worlds. You've got the chaotic, deceptive world of the fraud, and then you have the structured, verifiable world of digital law and evidence. Yeah, the difference is just night and day. The fraud depends on panic and hiding behind fake names. The law? It relies on due process and verified identity, using tools like an advanced electronic signature. The scam is all about faking data, while the legal system is built to preserve it through things like secure digital custody chains. It's literally order versus chaos.
And here's a perfect example of that order in action. Scammers create this fake urgency, right? They need you to act now. But the legal system is built on process. In many situations, you have 30 business days to challenge an official action. That time, that breathing room, is the ultimate defense against the panic that fraudsters absolutely need to succeed.
In the end, the report on this case came to this really powerful conclusion. The scammers went after the victim because of their intelligence, thinking they could exploit that scientific discovery. But it was that same methodical, intellectual approach, that perseverance, that ultimately brought the whole thing crashing down on them. You gotta love the irony.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We spend so much time and energy talking about firewalls and antivirus software, but maybe, as this whole story shows, our most powerful defense against the chaos of digital fraud isn't a piece of software at all, but our own structured thinking, our own logic, and our own diligence.